Hi, welcome to the latest episode of NAMI-NYS Perspectives, your video series to help keep you connected, supported, inspired as we not just navigate, but thrive through our current situation with COVID-19. We have a great episode today. I'm calling this our All-Star episode. We are so lucky to be joined both by two-time NHL All-Star Kyle Palmieri of the New Jersey Devils and his All-Star advocate wife, Ashlee Palmieri, who I've been lucky enough to do a lot of advocacy work with on patient access issues. So how you guys doing?
We're doing great. How are you doing?
Good. It's great to see you, Ash, and see you, Kyle. Thank you so much for joining us. Glad you guys are doing well. So, actually, I'm going to start with you real quick because it's interesting, and as we transition to Kyle, because I think we kind of had a similar experience. It was really interesting. Like I said, I've done a lot of advocacy work with Ashlee, both in Albany, and I'm going to show you, here we are in DC, making our voices heard. So, we had one of the big issues we work on together is, about that, learning as we go here, is patient access issues. And we had a lot of big patient access issues. You're right, as this crisis started, as the budget was, coming together. And we were a little reluctant. Do we have people advocate during these times? With everything going on, should people still be speaking their advocacy voices? And we decided these issues, obviously the issues we work on together, patient access and making sure people get the medication and therapies that are appropriate for them. And, it was an incredible thing. We had over thousands of letters generated over the last couple of weeks before the budget, and seeing that was really inspirational. So can you talk about why it's so important that people advocate during these times and fight for issues that are important to us?
Yeah, so I think it just goes to show how important social media has become in advocacy issues, because there was so much uncertainty going on with session, and we weren't able to directly go and meet with legislators. And so being able to activate people via social media through email campaigns was huge, and it was really effective in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and it was so inspiring to see that. I think people really wanted to speak their voice and do something. I think as this all started to set in, people didn't know what to do. This is our new normal. We're stuck inside. We can't see each other, but we can still make an impact and change the world around us. And to me, that was really inspiring. And you were a part of that effort. So thank you so much. As you do, you kind of are Pied Piper in a way.
Absolutely. And I love that you're doing, virtual videos like this. It is our new normal. And so I think that everyone's trying to adapt and figure out ways that we can all stay connected.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you're doing this as well.
Yeah, well, and it was interesting. So switching to you, Kyle, we generated all this momentum during the advocacy session. We had introduced, it was the first time we'd ever introduced our own piece of legislation that we wrote, and it was really advancing. We had just had our legislative day, and we were getting momentum, getting sponsors, and then you feel like the plug got pulled out of us. And here you are, you're in the midst of your second All-Star season, I think 25 goals, having a great season, and then the plug got pulled out on you. So I know for me, I kind of had like a crash afterwards. Like, what's now? We got through the budget, we had this great victory. Our budget's kind of like our All-Star game, like the mid-season points play. But what was that experience like for you? For me, it was like going like 60 miles an hour and pumping the brakes, but interested to hear your perspective.
Yeah, no, it was weird. I mean, we went the morning the pause started, we had a pregame skate, kind of a normal game day set up, and we went in there, and I remember the coach calling some guys into his office and just saying that right now they're kind of receiving word that we might not be going on the ice and something might be coming or whatever like that. And they kind of guys were just hanging out just to try and find out what was going on. And about an hour or two later, they officially announced that the season was getting paused, and no one really knew how to react. You weren't like saying your goodbyes or anything like that. No one had any idea how long this was going to last. So it was kind of just, all right, maybe we don't know when you're going to see everybody, but we'll see you soon and stay healthy, and we'll figure this out later. So it like you said, it was like going 60 miles an hour. And then and then hitting the brakes. So for us, it was just a normal game day. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I haven't been back to the rink in over a month now. So it's definitely weird. Didn't even get a chance. Like, it's not like we grabbed our equipment or anything like that. It was one of those things that you kind of all of a sudden just stop being a hockey player for a little bit.
Right. And we have a special guest here too. We're gonna have another special guest in a little bit.
Piper.
Hi, Piper. Oh, Pitbull.
7 months old. We're not actually sure. We think American Bulldog, but we have a DNA test to try to figure it out.
She likes beards.
It's funny. I get woken up every morning with my cat licking my beard to feed her. It's kind of funny. But so I'm curious too. So obviously you said you can't grab your equipment, you can't grab your stuff. So what kind of stuff have you been doing to stay both kind of physically sharp and mentally sharp? Because you hear all these crazy rumors, the North Dakota rumor for the NHL, which to me sounds more like punishment than anything else. You guys all out to North Dakota, especially, it's still one of the states that's not even, on pause or locked down or anything. So, how do you try to stay both physically sharp and mentally sharp through this?
Yeah, well, it's tough. I mean, obviously you don't have access to ice, so everything you're doing is not totally hockey oriented. But realistically, it's just about trying to stay in shape with whatever equipment you got. Our strength coaches and coaches and stuff like that are pretty vigilant in making sure we have what we need. But at the same time, a lot of us were living in apartments at the time, and you don't have space to get outdoors and do stuff. But being out here in Long Island, get to go outside and do whatever you can. And I was able to, I'm kind of in the midst of building a little home gym out here.
Oh, nice.
Just to have for the summers. But as that comes along, I keep getting more equipment and hopefully be fully functional soon.
Right. So I'm just curious too. It's kind of funny. I mean, just to see how you do. Like I kind of alluded to, you guys are newlyweds still. It hasn't even been a year, and you got incredible and beautiful pictures, but now you're like pointing together. So how are you guys like relationship wise? Are there new things you're learning about each other, and how are you? This is I always look at challenges as opportunities, right? And my wife and I were just talking about. I mean, we've been married since 2011. Gotta get that right. Never get back into the main house, but but we're still learning. This is like taught us a lot about ourselves and our relationship and getting our relationship stronger. So it's interesting that you have this opportunity right in the beginning of your wedding. I know you guys have been together a long time, but can you talk about that a little bit?
It hasn't been that much different. I work from home a lot, and I have for a very long time. So we're kind of used to, I don't know, both being at home, but when you keep busy and we're not in each other's hair, I think all day, he's been, building his gym in the garage and doing odd jobs around the house, and I'm still working. So it hasn't been too different, actually. I think that being able to work from home, as I have for years, kind of made me both of us being used to being around each other kind of all day.
Well, that's good. So one of the other things that I'm really curious to talk to you about, Kyle, is a couple of things. But first is, how obviously being a professional athlete and getting to the point to be a professional athlete, more important, all the work that goes into it, all the trials, all the failures to get you to where you've been today to become an all-star. How have you learned, the lessons that you've learned to get to the point where you are in your career now and meeting challenges and conquering challenges? How are you applying those lessons to the current situation, or recommendations you can make for viewers who are trying to use this as an opportunity and not just a challenge?
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest things throughout your career, whether you're playing youth hockey or moving up the ranks to junior hockey and the college and pro levels, it's taking it one day at a time. I think when you look at it, I mean, you look how long a hockey season is, you can't look at it and say, oh, I have to play, for us, 82 great games to stay in the NHL. It's going out and trying to make yourself better every day, whether that be in hockey or in life, and B, just making sure you're just focusing on that day and it's always good to have long-term goals, but short-term goals and being able to feel accomplished and checking something off the list that maybe was a small short-term goal that no one would have ever noticed, but in your mind, it's a victory is huge. And I think when you look at it, whether you're breaking into the league as a rookie or been playing in the league for 10, 15 years, you're always got to keep trying to make yourself better. And that's one of the things I learned early on is getting there is one step, and then it keeps on getting harder to stay there and become a better hockey player and a better person. So being able to kind of itemize it and place a lot more of your attention on the short term as opposed to the long term, I think is really key in not feeling overwhelmed or letting those kind of emotions creep in. And I'd say that's probably one of the biggest things.
Yeah, that's actually great advice, because I think you hear so many people talking about it right now, like, when's this going to end, right? When's the finish line? And like you said, for you, making the NHL wasn't the finish line. Becoming an all-star wasn't a finish line. It's that finish line keeps moving. It's not about the finish line, right? It's the destination. It's not about the destination. It's the journey that's so important. And I think your advice, taking it one day at a time. And I think, hockey players, you guys have the longest season. I'll tell you, I don't know how you guys do it 9 months. I mean, seriously, everyone thinks football players are the toughest, but you get knocked around, just as badly as they do 3 times, 4 times a week, sometimes, and for 9 months out of the year. So, that's sort of perseverance. But again, it's one day at a time. But the beauty of that, too, is that with an 82-game season, right, you can have a bad game, maybe you missed a shot or whatever, took a bad penalty, but then, next day, 2 days later, you have the opportunity to do it all again. And that, looking at each day at a time and everything as a new opportunity is great. So thank you for your perspective on that. One thing I've always wanted to ask athletes about, kind of mentally, and when people face challenges, is being traded. And you've been traded a couple of times. And, that's got to be a weird feeling. Again, we kind of talk about challenges and opportunities. It's got to be a weird thing. It kind of feels like, on one hand, this one team doesn't want you anymore, but there's a team that does want you. So, I mean, I think you've been traded twice. So can you kind of talk about that experience and what you've learned from that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's some bittersweet feelings. You grow so close to some of the guys, especially the guys around your young age. And I was 24 or 25 when I got traded to New Jersey. And bittersweet's the best way to say it is I was so ingrained in Anaheim, and I had so many good friends, but at the same time, I was moving closer to my family and playing in a state and for a team that I grew up watching and looking up to. And so it was a bit of a shock, but at the same time, I was excited for a new opportunity. And I think going back to New Jersey obviously was a huge turning point in my career. And I think when you look at all the benefits that came out of whether it be playing time or being closer to family or being closer to my wife now, because we were long distance at the time, it was something that the positives definitely outweighed the negatives, and being able to stay in touch with my friends from Anaheim. I mean, some of them are still my closest friends, and we keep in touch as if we're seeing each other at the rink every day like we usually do. But it's keeping those relationships and communicating. And I think it was definitely bittersweet, because Newport Beach in Orange County, California was a pretty nice place to live. But it's been great since I've been back here, and I'm looking forward to the future.
And again, you give such insight about the power of keeping relations, and that's so important right now too. As everyone keeps saying socially distant, but we're really physically distant. We're still socially connected, and that's a big part of this show, is to make sure people are socially connected. So it's interesting, Ashlee, from your perspective on that, when Kyle was playing in Anaheim, or even now when he's on the road, staying connected, and can you talk a little bit about how you guys do that and your advice to other people to stay connected even though we're separated from the ones we love, especially as we're past the holidays? I know this is really a difficult point for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think staying connected, we're so lucky with technology now. I mean, it's so easy to just FaceTime somebody or do a Zoom meeting. I actually, over Easter, did a Zoom conference with my grandmother and all of my cousins who live in different states. I also had a Zoom video conference with some of the wives that we've, been on teams with before that are, one's in Sweden,
Wow.
one's in Las Vegas. So we were all over and we're able to connect that way. So I think just having social media having technology makes it so much easier today.
Yeah, definitely. And that's an interesting thing too. Did all your foreign teammates get to go back home, or are they stuck in the States? That's an interesting.
Yeah, I would say most of them got a chance. We mostly stayed put. I think it was a Thursday that the pause was official. So most of them probably got out of there, I think Sunday or Monday that following week, just before all the travel bans and things like that. Because to be in an apartment, I've seen the way a lot of these guys live. They're not totally prepared to be self-sufficient at home. So, that's the thing about, we have a really young team. I think the average age is 23 or 24. And these guys are used to sitting there and living on their own and not having to worry about anything. And then all of a sudden things start getting taken away from you, and you have to order every one of your meals and things like that. So hopefully a couple of them learn how to cook and things like that. But
well, again, it's all about an opportunity. So we're all going to come out of this stronger, right? So hopefully the Devils will also be a better team and improved and stronger because of these challenges. So that's some big thing for the New Jersey fans to be excited about. But you kind of touched on it before, and I saw something that you posted, Ash, so I'm curious about this, is that, when you got traded to the Devils, you're from New Jersey, Kyle, your family's from New Jersey, and I saw you post something, Ashley, about, I think your family has a family farm, right, in northern New Jersey, southern New Jersey?
Yeah, northern New Jersey.
And the impact this is having on farmers and how important it is right now to try to support local businesses and local farmers and stores and things like that. So I just ask, how's your family doing through all this?
Everyone's doing really well. They're working a lot of hard hours. We originally had a big farm stand. It was normal kind of grocery store, and about 5 or 6 years ago, they transitioned to a smaller space, and they've been doing steady business, but nothing like what they're doing now. And I get to call my mom and my brother and my sister and her fiance and one of my brother's friends are all there packing orders and doing the pickups. And I think the other day, between 2 or 3 of them, they packed 135 orders in a day.
Wow.
So it's I think overwhelming the first couple days, opening up to mobile ordering and things like that. And I think they've settled into a very, very hardworking routine now. But they're getting through it.
All right, so I think we do have a special guest who's going to be joining us now. I'm just admitting him. I think him and his mom are going to be with us. Oh, there he is. Hey, Liam. Can you hear us? Yep. Let's see. I think he's working on his volume. He's connecting. Hey, Liam, how are you?
Good.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. So, want to say hi to Kyle and Ashlee?
Hi.
Hi, Liam.
Hi.
So, one of the things we were just about to talk about, Liam, is that one of the hardest things for a lot of people about this whole situation is no sports. I know it's hard for Kyle. He misses skating, and we were just talking about how much he misses being with his teammates. But your dad and your mom have posted so many pictures about how heartbroken you are about no hockey, and I know you play and you watch it. So I know that's been really hard for you, huh? Yeah. Why don't you tell the audience, how old are you?
I'm 9.
You're 9, and how long have you been playing hockey?
3 or 4 years, I think.
Yeah, your dad told me since you were 4. So basically, you've been skating since you've been walking, right? Right, and like Kyle, you're a right wing, right? So
Nice.
I know you really miss sports, and you wanted to ask Kyle a couple of questions. So the floor is yours, buddy. Take it over.
So one question is, how do you talk to your hockey friends on your hockey team?
A lot of it's through texting. I'll FaceTime a couple of the guys, but we've been pretty active. We have like a little team chat that guys poke in and out of, but we've stayed in touch pretty well. And I'd say for the most part, it's through texting and social media and things like that.
It's pretty much the same with my hockey friends. Like we do a lot of video chats together, and that's
Yeah. And what do you miss most about playing hockey and being with your team, Liam?
I really just miss playing the sport. It's just getting boring sitting at home doing nothing.
Yeah. And what is it about hockey that you love so much? Because your dad's always posting pictures of you either playing or watching, and I know you're such a passionate fan. What is it about the sport and that you love so much?
I pretty much just like playing in that. It's just fun.
Yeah.
I agree.
And otherwise, so take sports out. How are you guys dealing with our current situation and learning from home? You adapting okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any other, you can ask technical hockey questions, any other questions you have for Kyle? How to improve your slap shot, maybe? Anything you could ask. The floor is yours.
Okay. So another question is, if you were able to make a hockey team, where would they be from?
Ooh, like part of the country or like worldwide?
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Ooh,
That's tough. I would
that's a good
say
question.
playing for my hometown team, I think I'd stick them right there in New Jersey.
Good answer.
That'd be
Any other questions?
How long have you played for?
Well, I'm 29 now, so I would say I'm right around 25 years. I started when I was around 5 years old. Makes me feel old, but I've been playing a long time.
So, and your dad told me when you started playing at 4, so you actually have a leg up on Kyle here. So now we expect big things from you, buddy. Any other questions?
Not really.
Not really. Do you have any advice for kids who are going through this? How are you dealing with the boredom? Anything else you want to share?
Not really.
Not really? Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. And I know you're one of the many people who are really missing sports right now. So I hope you get to watch soon and get back on the ice real quick, buddy.
I do too.
Yeah, and I know Kyle, we want to see Kyle back on the ice real quickly too. So thank you so much for joining us, but you can just click right off and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Hi, Liam. Nice to meet you.
You too. Bye.
Bye. So before we leave, and Liam's maybe still listening. Oh, there we go. I think he was a little nervous. I know his mom told him. But yeah, he really is. And it's interesting because so many of my friends have talked about this, how much like we need sports right now. Obviously, you know, the closest thing that we have to compare this to is 9/11 and the tragedy. And I'll never forget, I'm a diehard Mets fan, and watching that first game back after 9/11 and the Piazza home run. It's such an iconic moment, you know, and we don't have that here. And it's like we need sports more than ever right now. So you kind of feel like you realize the impact that you have on people, especially when times are tough. Like being a sports fan is what gets people through on a lot of things.
Yeah, I think the mental release of being able to watch sports and live entertainment such as that, it's one of those things that, like we talked about, taking things a day at a time. When you have something to look forward to, say a Devils game or a Mets game or whatever it might be, or football Sunday or anything like that, it compartmentalizes the way you go about your day because you have that thing to look forward to. And I think in this situation right now, yeah, there might not be an end that you can tangibly feel or see, but just being able to take it day by day and making sure you're staying positive. And not every day is going to be filled with activities. Sometimes you're going to have to kind of fill your time, but there's a lot of different things you could be doing, reading books and learning something new, a new skill or whatever. But there's definitely stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. So before I let you go, there is one more thing I want to talk to you guys about. I know in some ways advocacy is somewhat of a family business. You're doing incredible work with the Kyle Palmieri Foundation, which is doing something that's very, very dear to the NAMI mission, that's supporting veterans and military families. So can you kind of tell us why that issue is so important to you and the work that the Kyle Palmieri Foundation is doing?
Yeah, I think, well, when we started it, it was kind of branched off. I did like a little ticket program where I'd bring military, either veterans or active duty, to games, and they could bring a family member, and building those relationships and being able to spend time with them during a little meet and greet after the game, kind of build us into wanting to do something a little more. And with the help of my wife, who does pretty much all of it, I think we've been able to establish a community and a place where not only are we raising money, but we're connecting people to different services and opportunities that they may not realize that they have. So I think the biggest thing we set out to do is just trying to do our part and trying to help these men and women and their families who obviously sacrifice so much for us.
Yeah, and we're all so grateful for all the commitment, not just of our service people, but their families as well, because they make such sacrifices. And then, we're sitting here talking about how we're socially distant from our loved ones and trying to stay connected. But, again, I can't imagine. That's the ultimate social distance when you have a loved one on the other side of the world in harm's way. It's the work that you're doing to support the veterans and the military families is so important. And we're so appreciative of the work that you're doing. So thank you so much for that.
Well,
Thank you.
All right. And just to wrap up, so we wrap up each session. We're trying to give people some stuff to stay active, whether, what people are watching, reading, things like that, listening to. So I have a special recommendation for you guys. I try to tailor them to my guests. So it's exciting. So obviously being a New Jersey Devil, big thing about Jersey. The Boss, Bruce Springsteen, and is his autobiography, which I highly recommend everybody read, Born to Run. But honestly, for me, I had a lot of struggles in my teen years. Our family had a lot of issues, and Bruce Springsteen's music really is what got me through a lot of my hard times, and I found solace in and inspiration. So anything Bruce related, you can read the book. I recommend there's the film Blinded by the Light, which is really good. But also I know Bruce and John Bon Jovi and a few other musicians are doing a big benefit for the New Jersey service workers next week. I believe it's April 22nd that they're doing the big event that's going to be broadcast all over the New York City area and online too. But so important that we support those in New Jersey on the front lines, our doctors, our healthcare workers, our grocery store workers, all the people that are keeping us safe and connected. So big thing on that. Listen to Bruce. I don't know. You guys have any recommendations? Something that you're watching, listening to?
That's something.
Binge watching.
Like Tiger King, like the rest of the country.
Love Tiger King, yes.
And we haven't been watching that much TV. We're doing a lot of cooking, and it's getting very interesting because you can't find even half the ingredients that you need. So it's a little bit like an episode of Chopped every day. But we're getting creative and heightening our skills.
Yeah, and you have a farmer connection. They can't just ship your food out there now. And again,
we're actually trying to grow our own garden, which I don't have much.
There you go.
He's tapping into his farmer roots. So
there you go. Awesome. So there you go. A new opportunity, new growth, and that's what we really want everyone to do. Spring's the season of renewal. Kyle's farming. We're bringing up new things, new ideas, and looking for new opportunities. So hey, both you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me and give your insights, and just really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, stay well, guys.
You too.
You too. Have a good one.
We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.